Hello everybody and welcome to our 11th already Java class. We're going to be reviewing some very cool stuff today. We're going to be learning how to read from text files in Java and how to port it in our previous project. So let's go there. I'm going to start by just sharing the desktop as always we do. Cool. Alright. So we're going to go as we usually do. We're going to go and start our NetBeans right there, and we're going to create a new project, and this new project will only have the purpose of being able to read from files. We're going to create text files using something else. We have learned in the past tutorial how to write files in Java. But we're not going to be, we're trying not to mix that up right now, so we're going to just keep it on separate folders and separate projects. So I'm just gonna create a text file using the notepad in Windows, and then we're gonna go ahead and read from there and display it, or do some computation, some sums or division, something with the text that we're gonna find there. Remember that we can convert a text in Java using the parse function. We can convert from text to numbers, so we can do math with them. So that's going to be a great way to start. We're going to just then go here and create a new project. It's going to be a Java application. I'm going to hit next, and then we're going to call it reading files. Reading files in Java, right? Java. All right, that's a cool start, and we're gonna start with a blank program as we always do. Let me just close whatever else I have open so we can only see our project right here. Alright, so as always, it has a little bit of it says here what is the package, and the package is just, a very important grouping. It's like saying in this book bag we only have for now one book, which is this, and this class is called reading files in Java, and then in the future we can add more stuff to it. So that's very important to keep a package that has all the different we're gonna start calling it classes, right? Because this is a class. You will see that we can create different classes later, and we can have, as we have functions on separated here in our main class, we can also have different classes that can have different functions on them, and it's a very nice way to just organize stuff. I'm going to just show you one of the projects that I've done lately, just for you to take a look. You see, this is a project that basically um, sort stuff an array that is unsorted, like the numbers are 5, 3, 2, 8, 13, and then it's sorted on the right order. And the good way about it is, like, you see that I have created many classes. For now we only have one class, and we're gonna keep it that way for now, but I'm gonna explain later how we can create those classes. This is reaching a very good stage on our learning process in Java. Being able to create those classes and work with them is just very cool stuff, and we're gonna be taking a look at them. But for now, we're gonna concentrate in our class here, in our main file, or our main class that is called reading files in Java, and we're gonna be adding stuff here so we can do what we said. Well, we can read files from there. All right. So we need to, the same way that we did in the past, we need to import some stuff that we need to use, right? So we're gonna go here after package, and then we're gonna import some of the classes. So we're gonna do import that Java that, and then it's gonna be IO because it's in and out, right? We're gonna be using some functions to read in and out, so that's why read and write. So that's why we have this IO subdivision, and then we're gonna use something that is called buffered reader. All right, and then we're gonna just put a semicolon right there, That's one of the classes that we want to import. The other one is called java.io as well, and this is some of the exceptions that we're gonna throw in. We did that in the past. This is a very cool way that Java has in which we can, let's say if we have a problem, the program will just stop there. I want to show you, okay, I have this problem. I didn't find the file, or I couldn't write into the disk because the disk was it has an error or it was disconnected. If you have like a pen drive or a thumb drive on your computer, and you want to try to write on it and you just disconnect it, you won't be able to, and then Java will tell you, there is an exception on your program. So we can see how to manage that. So file not found exception, it's another very important thing that we need to import. Then we're gonna also go and import java.io and a very handy class that is called file reader. We're gonna import file reader, and then we're gonna just import another Java exception that is called a general exception, IO exception. That IO exception pretty much IO exception. Well, I'm sorry, IO exception. So basically, we can be very specific and say we have a file not found exception, or we could just use a general one and say if there is any exception, I want to see what it is. So this is a very good way to encompass everything. I'm very interested in throw a file not found exception because that's something that occurs quite often when you're trying to read from a file. But the IO exception is pretty much something that groups all the exceptions that are related with IO. So you can Google. There's many exceptions. Like you can have just different exceptions for, let's say, if you want to access a database over the internet, right? And then the database is not ready for you because the connection network is not good or something. You can throw all that exceptions too. And then we're gonna have the last one, import, and then java.io and that JOption pane. As you know, we always use our little friend JOption pane here to just JOption pane just to show, the just to show all the stuff that we want to do on our class. But JOption pane is not JOption pane. I'm sorry, is not inside the IO, but it's inside the JAVAX. Remember that we also, when we import it, we always import it as this JAVAX swing. Sorry, JAVAX that swing, right? And JOption pane. Well, basically, swing is for Windows management, so you can have like Windows-like elements. Like JOption pane will show you a little graphic dialog in Windows, so that's why it's on that different one. All right, so we have a public class called reading files in Java, and we're gonna create a little function that would take care of that, and that function is called it's called the reader function, right? So we're gonna create another function here, and we're gonna call it public, and then it's gonna be static as well. Then it's gonna return a string, because remember that when we read something, when I retrieve a line of text, or so it's gonna be a string, and then I'm gonna call it reader function. Why not, right? Reader function, and then I'm gonna pass another string here as an argument, and I'm gonna call it name of file. When we have there is something there is a type of designing or naming variables in Java. It's called camelback format. Camelback format means that you're gonna put the name. Let's say that my variable, I want to call it name of file. So every new word, it will start with a capital letter. So that's easier to read. So you can really create meaningful names for variables. This is very important. In Java, you can have, I don't know what is the limit, but it's a huge limit. You can have variables that have a long name, and that's very useful, because if you put variable x and variable y, and if I put here string x, if you look at it, you will not notice what it is. But if you specifically put a name to it that is meaningful, then you will see it and you realize, oh, that's what I'm asking here. And that is a very, very important way to program. You see that like all the time. You will see here, for example, if I hit dot, I would have well, not here, but um, well, you will see what I'm talking about here. For example, all right, I'm just gonna create my function and string name of file, as just we did before, right? And then I have to return something, so I'm gonna create a string here, and then I'm gonna call it line of text, and then I'm gonna instantiate it as an empty one, and I'm gonna return that. So return line of text. See, now I have no errors, because I'm promising my function that I am returning a string. So since I am returning a string, that I have no error anymore. But I want to show here that if I put name of file, which is my string, you will see that uh, you know, they name the variables something meaningful. For example, content equals, right? That function from the string class, it has a variable that is called CS, and is because CS is because it's a char sequence, or SB for string buffer. All those stuff are very, very important. You just have to put meaningful names, and make a use of it. Try to put always stuff that will make you remember, or help you to remember easily what you're trying to accomplish or trying to do. All right, now we're gonna start doing the nuts and bolts of our reader class. All right, our reader function, better say. So, uh, in order to read something, we can directly, let's say, we have to take the file that we have, the text file, and we have to place it into memory. And then we're going to be reading from it. But it's very important, the concept of a buffer. A buffer is pretty much, let me see if I can show what a buffer is by just drawing it a little bit. All right, let's say that I have this little thing here in the paint. So let's say that I want to draw here. Let's say that I have my file here, right, that has text on it, text. And then that's where that I want to read that into my program, right? I have my program here, and then let's say that here this is the hard drive. This is the hard drive of my computer, right? We have a little thing here. It's a hard drive, and then I'm gonna place from the hard drive. I'm gonna put my file into the memory, and then after I do that, I'm gonna start reading from it. If I try to read it directly from the hard drive, what happens if, for example, another application wants to use the hard drive at the same time? It could be too slow. So the way that Java works is like you try to put all this block of text into memory first, and then read it from it. And then that's something that is called a buffer. We use that, very, very much when you're reading from files, when you're doing stuff like that. So it's very important, the concept of using a buffer. All right. So we're gonna create here our little buffer, and it's gonna be called the uh, buffered reader. Right. You see here the object that we have imported, so we can use it. So I'm gonna call it buffered reader buffer. is equal to new buffer reader. Just the way we do it all the time. We are instantiating here as we always do. And well, there is uh, there is an error. But let me see if we can just do buffer reader and then buffer reader. Okay, we don't need to really instantiate it like this, but it's good if we do it. Yeah, so we have a buffer reader that is called buffer, and now we're gonna be using it. So we're gonna create a string here. Well, we already have that string called line of text. We're gonna use it now, and then we're gonna try something. Remember that as we have done in the past, you can try something, like for example, reading from a text file, and then when it's something that it's a little bit that can create some errors, like for example, reading a file, you want to make sure that you put that into a try uh, block of code, and then after that, you're gonna just put here a catch clause. Just gonna say I'm gonna catch. Um, And what is what I'm going to catch? I'm going to catch a file not found exception. File not found exception. And then I'm going to call it ex, exception. All right, except. And then I'm going to define what I want to do with that exception, right? So this showed me an error because the corresponding try statement. Okay, seems like well, it should be fine. We just have to complete it a little bit more. But then you see we have that file not found exception, and the problem that is saying that this exception is never thrown because I'm not trying to do anything here yet. So as soon as I try to read from a file, this will be activated. So for example, I'm going to create a file reader, right? File reader, and then I'm going to call it file reader or my file reader, which is a little better, my file reader. And then I'm gonna put a new file reader, and then I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna, if when I want to instantiate, I want to start this file reader, and you see that I'm creating the variable, the object that is called my file reader, and then I usually just do this, and it should be fine. But the issue here is that I need to pass in between the parentheses. I need to pass what is the name of the file. So I'm going to put it here, name of file, just like this. And you see now that it's possible that I can throw that exception. So that's why now I don't have that as an error anymore. So we have our file reader called my file reader. And then I want to put that my file reader into the buffer. I know that it sounds a little bit complicated, but if you just follow these steps, it's just it will be very easy because every time you want to read something, you follow the same format. So after a little while, after you try 2 or 3 times, it will be very easy for you to do. So all that you have to do is just put that file reader into a buffer. So you remember the name of our buffer? It's called buffer, right? Our buffer. And then now we're gonna create our object saying new buffer reader, and then we're gonna put inside my file reader, my file reader. And as you remember, we have to put the stuff. It's very, very, very good practice to do it this way. So we're gonna put here my file reader, just like that. All right, and then we see now that our file reader is inside the buffer. So basically, you create the buffer, that little tank that we have all the water that you need for the using it. And the way you do it is you just put the my file reader inside the buffer, and now that it's inside the buffer, you're able to use it or to read from it. So then what we can do here is gonna say line of text line of text line of text is equal to buffered reader. I call it buffer, right? This is the name of my variable is just buffer, so I call it just buffer that get line, or better read line. That's the one. Yes, read line. So now I'm gonna save whatever I can read from the file into uh, my file. So I wanna stop here and explain some stuff. Basically, I have created this variable is called string, and then after I create my file reader, I put it into the buffer, and now that it's in the buffer, I can put just buffer that read line. So what this is going to do is going to just read the first line of a text. So for example, let's say that I go and create a text using the notepad. For example, I can put here, this is my text, and when I hit enter, you see that the cursor now goes on the second line. There is a character here that you cannot see, and that is called the enter character. Sometimes the programs can show it. Let me see. I think that the WordPad, yes, the WordPad will show it, and we can see it. It's called just, for example, this is my text, right? This is my text, and then I hit enter, and then I probably will be able to see it here. Well, it's not always shown. Yeah. Oh, right here, right here. Well, that is not. That's just showing the paragraphs. I think that Word will do it. I think it's important that we can just see it. I put here enter, and then all right, there you go. This is the enter character. When you are reading a file, you're gonna read line by line. So when you read the first line, the program will read everything that is before this symbol that you cannot usually see, but then the program can see it because it's there. So once you see it, it will say, all right, I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to just read that first line. But something more important about it is that this has a memory. For example, when you call read line the second time, it will read the next line. So when you call it the third time, it will read the third line. And we will demonstrate it right here. We're going to say, first off, we have to solve a problem. You see that we have a red mark here, and it's saying that there is an exception that is not reported. So it's called unreported exception, IO exception, must be caught or declared to be thrown. What's really cool about it is like the file not found exception is part of the IO exception. So what we can do here to encompass everything, we're gonna just use this exception right there instead of file not found, because file not found exception is inside the IO exception. So I'm gonna put here IO exception, right? And then you see that I have no error because everything will be encompassed there. So then I'm gonna read that first line, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna return. You see, I'm gonna return line of text as it is right now. So basically, this is it. This is the very core of the program. I start a buffer, and then I start a file reader, and then I put the file reader inside the buffer, and after that I keep on calling the readLine function from the buffer, and it will be reading one line at a time, and I will be storing that line into my variable called line of text. And then after that I can return that line of text, and we have a reader. So for example, here in my main function I can do this. I'm gonna do J option pane, right? J option pane that show message dialog, and then I can say here the name, right? I can, since I know that my function So what I'm going to do right now is very clever. It's a very good way to program, by the way, because you will see these shortcuts and they are very important. I know that J option pane is looking for a for a string here. But I know that my function, my reading function, will actually return a string. So instead of just directly giving it a string like this, I'm going to call my reader function. So I'm going to go reader function, and then I'm going to give the arguments for it to work. You remember that we have to give the name of the file. So I'm going to call it my text. I'm going to call it my file text that txt, and it has to be a string, so we have to surround it by quotation marks, just like that. Alright, and that's my reader function. And what is the problem? It says that I cannot find the symbol. Yeah, I misspell it. So it's basically function. Alright, now everything works. It will try to read from a text and it will try to show it to me. But I know that I haven't created the file yet. So if I run it right now, I know that I'm going to have the exception. So in order for me to show how this mechanism work again, I want to just put here J option pane. See, when I catch the exception, I'm going to put J option pane that show message dialog, and then you see I'm going to show the exception. I'm going to call here the exception is, and then I'm going to add my exception right there. So you'll see that it will say the exception is, and it will show the except. What is my except variable, which is the variable in which I'm going to save that exception in order to show it. So I'm going to try it so we can see how it works. I'm going to try to run it right now, and you see it's throwing me that exception. I didn't find the file that you want to show, so here it is. The exception is Java I file not found exception. My file text.txt, the system cannot find the file specified. So you have a lot of information there. It's telling you what is the exception that is being thrown. It tells you what is the name of the file that it was trying to find, and that's why it shows that file not found exception. And then it shows you an explanation of it. It just say you in plain English, the system cannot find the file specified. It's a very powerful way to recognize what are what could be some problems that you can have when you are writing your code. So it's a very good tool. So what we're gonna do right now, you see, is after that it's showing me the JOcean pane, and it's showing me nothing because it returned this. You see? If I let's say this is a very good thing. I'm gonna just put here I couldn't read anything. So I know that if I didn't replace this message, I couldn't read anything, with a line that I'm reading from here, then I know that there was a problem there, right? So I could know that. Besides the exception, I will see this message there showing something to me. I couldn't read anything, right? So we have that. But if I read something, then it will replace that message with something else, and it will work just fine. So then I'm gonna create a file, but let me go here. I have to go to the folder in which I have this program, right? So I think that I can go from here. Maybe from here. No. So I'm just gonna go and open an Explorer window, and in my computer I have everything under a folder that is called NetBeans projects, and then here I'm gonna just go where I have it, which is in reading files in Java, right? And then I go to my source and reading files of Java, and that's where I have to create my file. It has to be in the same folder that I have that Java file. So I'm going to create here I'm going to create a new text file, right? Text file, and then I'm going to call it my file text. that was the name of it. Let me just double check, make sure. My file text. Yes, that txt. My file text, that txt. Perfect. And then I'm going to put here some numbers. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I'm going to put here 10, 11, 12, 13, or something, right? So I'm going to put here also, this is the first line of text. There we go. And then I'm going to put here, this is the second line of text. And then the last one I'm going to put here, this is the third, right? Third line of text. So now we see that we have all these 3 lines of text, and then I want to show you how the function that is called read file has memory. So if you call it one time, it will know that you just read the first line. If you call it the second time, it will read the second line and the third line and so on. But now I know that everything will work. So I'm going to just close whatever I have here. I think that I have it already there, saved and everything. Yep, everything's good, everything's fine. I'm going to save everything, and then I'm going to just keep that folder open for now. But then you see, I'm going to run it, and it says that the exception was found and it couldn't read anything. Oh, the file is here. So maybe it needs to be somewhere else. Let me see. Maybe we need to move this, and instead of having it here, I'm gonna cut it and paste it. Yes, it should be right here in this folder. And let's see if we can read it right now. It has to be in that. All right. So we'll try it now, and I'm gonna run it. All right. So now we see that we put the file in the correct location, and it's not showing me that exception anymore. Like it couldn't find the file. But now you find this is the line of text. I just put that. Yeah, this is the line of text. I didn't put anything else. It seems like. Let me see. This is the first line of text, is what I meant. Right there. Alright, so we can see now when we open it, we will see that we can actually read there. This is the first line of text. So we hit OK, and everything is good. But I'm gonna call this one more time. So I'm gonna call it the second time, and then you have the same arguments and everything. But I hope to show you here how that readline function has a memory. It remembers how many times you call it, and that's very, very important, because when you want to read a whole file, you want to make sure that you're going to read everything, all the file. So I'm going to run it here, and you see 1, 2, 3. This is the first line of text. I hit OK, and then this is the first line of text. Well, what happened here is that I exit out of the function, so when it calls the second time, it's like it's calling it on the second time already. So instead of doing that, I'm just gonna delete that back, and so the memory that it has is local. It only works inside the function. So I'm gonna call this one more time, and now let's see what happened. I'm gonna call it one more time right after the first time I call it. So now I'm going to run the program, and you see it reads the second line, because you remember it has memory. So I'm going to do it one more time, and you will see that now it will read the third line of text. See, as we will expect. So now we see how that readline function works. So basically, whenever you want to, for example, create something, then you will use something like this. You will just keep on repeating it and repeating it until you have that, right? So then, for example, you can have something like a while loop, right? While buffer um, that, and we can see here so all right. So you see here that I have something that is called the end of file, which is a line. Okay, I have my while loop and everything. So for example, I'm going to put here something that's called end, right? That's the name of that's the name of um, my buffer. But I want to do better is this. I want to do this. I want to say while my line of text, my line of text um, is not equal to. Remember that when we have text, we have to use the function. So equal does not equal end, then keep on reading, right? Keep on reading. So let's say that I'm gonna create here now. The last thing I'm gonna put is gonna be the word end, like the end of the file. So I'm gonna save it, and then I want to display though every time I have this I want to display. So I'm going to move the J option pane here. I'm going to just move it down, cut it, and move it down here right after each line of text. So we can see how I'm going to go to the file, to all the file, and then whenever it hits the word end, or it finds the word end, it will not do anything else. So the only thing we have to make sure here also is that there is no space after the end. There is no space, nothing else, not an enter, because as we have seen, every space has also, you see, if I put a space here, you see that it has a character. You cannot see it, but it's there. Also a tab. If I have a tab, it also has a character there. I think that there are many. Uh, so those characters you don't see it, but they are very important. And the program sees it when it has to do the calculations of everything. So now we're gonna try it one more time, and we'll see that we're gonna have something here. Okay. All right. Try to read something. Well, I'm gonna show another way to go to the array later. But for now, we're just gonna use this directly like this, and then well, it should be okay. Yeah, nothing is happening right now because let me see. I want to go back. Just put it here again. I just hit Control Z to put it back. And then I'm gonna go here where it says main, and I'm gonna call the function because nothing was happening because I didn't call any function. So I'm gonna put here reader function, right? And then I'm gonna put the name of the file. The name of the file will be the name of the file is my file text. My file text. All right. But here, as a difference, I'm not gonna call recursively my function because that will never end. So what I'm going to show here is just show directly uh, my variable called line of text. Line of text. Just like that. And here again I'm going to put line of text. And that will probably will do the thing. Okay. All right. So if I do this one more time, I know that it will try to read the fourth line, which has the end there. It will show it first, it will show the end, and then it will change the value of line of text. And when it goes back to the while loop, since the last thing that is going to be there is going to be the end, it will probably stop. So let me see. Oh, we cannot gonna find. I think that I messed up on the name of it. My file text, yeah, that txt. That's what it is. You have to put the extension of it. All right, and I have. I think that it didn't show it for some reason here. Okay, let me see if I take this out, then it should work. Yep, there we go. So this is the first line of text, this is the second line of text, and this is the third line of text, and then it didn't read the last one. Third one, and then yes, I wanna also read the last one. We has the end on it, and then let me see. First line, second line, third line, and the word end. So we have seen today how to read from files. This is a very good, very important thing that you can do. And we're gonna integrate that into our ATM machine just by calling it right there. So we're gonna go to our ATM machine, and now we're gonna be able to create some cool stuff, and we're gonna be able to retrieve it. So every time, so basically every time I'm opening the program, I want to be able to read uh, the files, that one file with the numbers, and then I want to retrieve it and integrate it into my ATM machine project, as we have done in the past. So I'm just gonna go here and besides importing Java Swing, I'm gonna import just what I need: buffer reader, right? Import java.io, that buffer reader, just as it is right now. Oops, two extra one, and then a buffer reader, and then I'm gonna also import java.io that um, file file reader, right? File reader, and of course I need to also import the java.io that IO exception, the IO exception. So basically with this I will be able to have all that I need to read from the file. So here when I'm starting the global variables, it has to be here on the main, right? And before I say welcome to the ATM machine, I'm going to put here my buffer reader. I'm going to create a buffer reader. Reader, and I'm going to call it my reader. And then after that, I'm going to start. After that, I'm gonna just create also my file reader, and I'm going to call it reader, and I'm going to call it my reader. And I'm going to start that saying new file reader, and then I'm going to pass the name of the file there. So the name of the file will be accounts.txt. All right, and then right after that, let me see what happened here. It's already defined in main string. Oh, did I already have a reader? somewhere. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's gonna be my B reader and buffer reader, so they're different. So I created my reader, and you see that it doesn't allow me to do it because I need to have a try and catch clause. So I'm gonna try it here, try that, and then I'm gonna catch the exception. It's gonna be an IO exception. Then I'm gonna call it IO, and then after that I'm gonna just display, J option pane that oops, show message dialog, that show message dialog, and then I'm gonna say I found, I have found, right, this exception, and then I'm gonna display that plus IO, and I'm gonna show what was my exception, and then here what I'm gonna do, I have my file reader, and then I'm gonna have my buffer reader, my B reader, right? And then I'm gonna create my B reader just as it is right now, and I'm gonna create a new buffer reader, and then I'm gonna put the file reader there. So I'm gonna put in my reader there. I have to put the camelback punctuation there. Perfect. And then I'm gonna create an int that is called first is checking, right, and then saving. So int checking, and also checking and saving. And then what I'm gonna do, create a string, and I'm gonna create a string for the line that I'm gonna well, yeah, I'm gonna create a string that is called first line, and that's gonna be equal to my B reader, dot read line. So that's gonna save the first line into my variable called first line, and then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna create a second line like that, and I'm gonna put also my B reader that read line again. It's gonna read the second line, right? And then I'm gonna convert this, and I'm gonna say my checking uh, my checking is gonna be equal to integer that parse int, and then well, it should be double, right? Because remember that we want to have also sense there, so I'm gonna put here double that parse double, and then the first one is gonna be first line, right? First line, and then I'm gonna do the same with the other one. Right here I call it int, but it has to be double. All right, and then I'm gonna put savings or saving is equal to pretty much the same, double that parse double, and then I'm gonna put here second line, just like this. All right, so now we have put stuff on the right place, and right after that I'm gonna finally put it into the array that I have that is called account. So account sub 0 will be equal to checking, and then account sub 1 will be equal to saving. Alright, so now we should be able to have something else there. Alright, that sounds very good. I will generate a lot of errors here if I don't, if I don't catch that exception. So when I catch that exception, I want to put the accounts to be 0. So if I have the exception, I want to show the exception, and I want to set these two values to be 0. So it's always good idea to, if you are going to have an error or something, just put some default values on it, like a 0, right? And then that's gonna avoid your program to crash, because we remember that we always start with a 0. So I'm gonna try to read it and put it there, but if it's not possible, then just set it up to 0. All right. So now we can try it, but we have to create a text file called accounts. So I'm gonna go here on my projects, and it's called my ATM machine, right? That is, let me see, ATM machine. And right here, I'm going to create a new file, text document, and I'm going to call it accounts. So my first account, I know that it's going to be checking. I'm going to put the number 100. And then for my savings, I'm going to put 300. All right. And we're going to make sure that there is no other space there or something. And then we're going to save it. And now we can try to see if it works. Alright, welcome to our ATM machine. And what was the security pin? I believe it was 1199. Or let me see. Our security pin was at the beginning. That's a good question. I forgot what was the security pin for it. So let me see. Should be around here. 1199. That's what it was. Alright. So we have it here, and it's called 1199. So let me go back. 1199. All right. And then I want to check the balance. So hit 1, press OK, and we see that it's not 0 anymore. I was able to read from the file. How cool it is, huh? I was able to read from the file and put it on the accounts. So now I can process this, and next time we're gonna write into the file. So every time we do some modifications to the account, we deposit or withdraw money from it, it will actually be saved from session to session. That's very, very important. That's very, very cool thing. All right, guys. I think we're about an hour long already. So I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching today.